I am unashamed. What about you?
Still making fun of me a podcast later in my defense.
So we were in between starting this next podcast that we're doing some of our ads, and so we got back into lamb-basted versus land-blasted.
No, I changed the M to N, and I put blast because that sounds more critical. Yep. If you land blast somebody, that means you drop some C4 in the middle of their argument.
Just added one little caveat as his old caveat.
There's another word for you.
Yeah,
little caveat.
Little caveat.
Look, you got to remember, I'm
one
married.
L changes everything.
I'm married to an English police officer. So when someone is speaking, my wife, she will lean over. Well, she did this first.
You're basically saying instead of bombastic, you said bombastic.
Well, look, so just to prove, Dad, your point. So when I put in land blasted, Jases New Word, it said, "Did you mean land based?"
What it said.
That's what it said. Did you mean land based? Yeah. And then it gives you the definition of land based, which could be land based.
That's why the last group of people that we're a part of. That's why we're unoffendable.
That's right.
Because I would say to that, if I could talk directly to the Wikipedia people, I would say, nope. I heard your word. I like this one better. So yesterday, look, last day of duck season, I'm going back to town, which is usually a 35-minute venture. Missy said, hey, she ordered some food. Go by and get it. Great, we have a plan. So I'm getting close to the mill, and all of a sudden, I see both lanes of traffic dead stopped right in front of the mill. Mm-hmm. And I think, what could be going on? What is there a wreck? Your mind goes through all this.
Because a little further, there's train that crosses. It wasn't the train.
If
it was the train there, you're in trouble.
Well, I had forgotten that every year, the redneck people in this area, they do a Christmas parade. They do it every year. And every year I get right in the middle of it. And at first you go through the gamut of emotions. I've missed lunch. Is there any way around it? No, there's no way around it.
No, it's shut down.
We shut down the town. And look, I would approximate, is that the right usage of the word?
That's good.
Close enough.
5,000 rednecks. They have now got on both sides of the street.
They call this the Balkan.
Basically shut it down.
The Balkanville Christmas Parade.
Shut down the flow of traffic.
Did you realize that we've had two family members serve as Grand Marshal of the Balkanville Christmas Parade? Anybody want to guess who those two were?
I'm going to guess Si.
Si was one.
Who's the other?
Mom.
Oh, my goodness. Phil didn't even know that.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
So here's what I noticed.
2 different years they served as the Grand Marshal of the
my feelings of in a hurry and impatience subsided, and I realized, you know what? Embrace this, enjoy it. So I picked out a few factoids that I thought would be chuckly. And because these are my people. Now, number one, I don't think that many rednecks live in this area, so they had to drive in from surrounding areas. Do you think?
You're probably right. I doubt there's 5,000.
There's lawn chairs out there.
Yeah. It's a draw. I think it's a regional draw.
So they got the floats, as they say. And you got to remember, over half the floats consisted of a trailer bed and hay being pulled by a truck. But do you know what the biggest cheer of the parade that I was a part of? Because I just,
did you find yourself in the parade?
Oh yeah, you just go in because people are like, get her done. You just pull in and there's a mixture of cars.
You may be the third honorary.
Look, I actually felt like this was so dangerous because there's kids all over the street and there's people driving and it just gets in with traffic. I actually looked up.
So what are they celebrating?
To see if anyone had died during this. That's how dangerous it seemed to me. And we all lived.
What are we celebrating?
Christmas.
It was Christmas.
Oh, okay.
So here's what I found funny. The biggest cheer of the entire parade was some old boy with a bunch of kids in the trailer. Hey, they're throwing out beads, and they throw out the beads.
Oh, we got a little Mardi Gras mix in there. That's what
it's beads and crappy candy. That's what it is. And look, the streets are just littered. Like the yuppie people would just faint and fall out. Because as they go,
nobody's cleaning it up.
They ain't cleaning this up. Hey,
somebody will be along. Get that.
The biggest cheer was one of the trailer tires of the trailer. The tire, we're way past flat. That happened on the way up there. We had a flat tire.
So
now the rubber's gone, the rim, and there's sparks flying, and the crowd is going crazy. There's a guy with sparks flying. Wait, that should have...
Like it was a built-in sparkler.
These kids are on the back of this trailer.
With this hay right there could go up at any minute.
I thought, and what is the crowd doing?
Cheers.
Yeah! We got it like a NASCAR, debacle.
Well, Jason, I didn't even know anything about that.
Well, have you got out more?
I've heard of no one. And what's shocking is that Si and my woman
have been the
Your wife and your brother were the grand marshals on different years.
That was news to me right here. I see it. I'm thinking.
Mom said, "Oh, it was so good. It was like I was the queen of my people."
Here's the second thing. Here's the second thing I noticed. Is that in the redneck world, I finally realized this while watching all this, because, I was in this thing for 2 hours, is that we use our horn. Most people, there's actually in some societies, especially in these urban towns, they want to file laws against the use of a horn because it causes road rage.
Road rage?
Well, because if you blow the horn at somebody in an urban area, that causes road rage. They're
panic.
How dare you blow your functional horn at me because I was, stopped at a red light on my cell phone. I think I'll drive past you and shoot you.
But in defense of these laws, Jace, when you go to New York, they overdo it a little bit. We're all backed up here 30 deep. And they're just,
New York's an exception. They use their horn.
Which, by the way,
I like that.
But it's against the law now.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not supposed to use their horn.
This is what I'm talking about. But here we use our horn.
Right.
If somebody pulls out in front of me,
it means
right. If somebody's in front of me and they turn around like what? And I'm like, go. If we're going to have the horn and it's going to be loud, why not use it? If you want to stop this, quit putting the horns in the vehicles because I'm going to use it. Right. So I was going to tell you, the horns were going off constantly.
But that was just more celebration.
Yeah, well, we're celebrating the horn.
Celebratory.
I just thought.
Like a Biden car rally.
So the third thing I'll say, now this is the PG-13. No, it was R, I guess. But and this was strange because, I'm a man. And we've gone through different texts about lust and if your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. These barbaric type passages, about keeping your heart pure. But I'll tell you this, in the redneck world, which they got this from Mardi Gras, when the bead float comes by, some of the women will lift their shirt up to get the beads thrown to them.
Oh, boy.
And I will tell you this, I had
so it's Mardi Gras
zero temptation to look at the female. When they went to the bottom of the shirt to raise it up, I said, nope, I'm not scanning that. There was zero temptation.
You were like, pass.
I'll pass. So I thought that was comical.
But it's interesting you brought that up. So when we were on our airplane going to Bahamas, so there's 2 seats here and then 1 seat right across the aisle. And there was a woman in the one right across the aisle, and I'm in the seat next to the aisle. So she's literally as close to me and you are here, Dad. But I wasn't even paying attention to this woman, but Lisa noticed her. And so I never even looked over there. When we landed, she had such a loose clothing on. Apparently, one of her boobs came out of her shirt as she's sitting there, and we're all ready to get off the plane. And so Lisa noticed because there were 2 men standing up, an older man in front of us and one behind us that are looking, You know, she can tell that. Well, then Lisa looks over like, what are they looking at? Well, they're looking at this woman with an exposed breast.
If a woman has her breast exposed in a public place, she knows it.
Well, that's what Lisa said.
Yeah.
She was just showing out.
But I think now, and there's a movement in our society that people want to be like, well, I can do this, and you shouldn't look.
Right. And
I'm not sure why they feel that they have to do that.
I don't know either.
Senseless, faithless, heartless, and ruthless.
A quoting of Romans 1.
That's right.
No, Phil, you left
Depravity has gone mainstream.
but
Jase.
you left one thing out: shirtless.
Yeah.
That's
Shirtless.
Right. Shirtless. Yep. There you go. Maybe we could start with shirtless. But what I'm saying is, I was glad that I was oblivious and never noticed. That's either I'm getting older or kudos to me that I wasn't even looking for that.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought
you were in the middle of the redneck Christmas parade.
Yeah, and I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, it
will become worse than what Jase just described.
Missy said,
it's over.
You're right.
Where have you been? I said, I went to the Christmas parade. She went, what? I said, well, I actually got caught up in it. I said, but at first I was impatient. And I said, but as it went on, I thought, these are my people.
I was going to say, if they had only any idea that you were in it, because you're like one of the redneck princes around here, they would have realized they had royalty.
Well,
they've had Cy, they've had Mom. They kind of unofficially had you as the...
I see why we're made fun of, though. I mean, it just didn't seem like a whole lot of education represented there. It seemed a little dangerous. And it just seemed like the economy in that area is really low.
Yeah, it's low.
Because nothing about it was real nice.
Yeah.
It all just
Wasn't
seemed
fancy.
kind of duct taped and bondoed vehicles.
So it didn't look at all like Macy's parade in New York with the big thing floating.
It was all about the candy and the beads and the kids.
And they wonder why a morning or late afternoon stroll through the woods
is not a bad thing, is it?
I'll tell you this,
good
Al,
thing.
laws were broke. Multiple laws were broken during that procedure.
Did you? By the way, speaking of laws, did you see any police officers?
I saw a couple of police officers riding in the middle of it, and I thought, are they trying?
What's their role?
It was so weird. Are they just saying it's just
Are they
too
kind of
much?
caught up in the flow?
There's
Or
too much to tackle.
That's
I mean,
right.
if somebody
the herd mentality.
if somebody would,
Sometimes it's just best to say, I need to just chill out here, and like you did, and just say,
you know what, I just
It's
kind
like
of
the
laughed and
it's like the old preacher said one time and said, I look around, I'm like a mosquito in a nudist colony. There's so much to do, but I don't know where to start.
yeah. I don't know, but it was funny.
That's pretty funny. All right, let's take a break. So you ignored my advice. I know you. Remember a while back I told you how thousands of guys trust Keeps for their hair loss prevention. If you trusted me back then, maybe it'd be showing off your thick head of hair in all your holiday photos. But you still got a chance. You go to Keeps.com. They're going to offer a doctor-recommended FDA approval for hair treatment. It's the real deal. More 5-star reviews than any of our competitors. These guys are good. They've been doing it a long time. You get a licensed doctor, reviews your info, recommends the right hair loss treatment for you, and then it ships straight to your door. So check these guys out. They have they track your progress. There's a doctor there 24/7. A really good program. Get started with a special discount. Go to Keeps, KEEPS.com/door. And you're going to get 50% off your first order. So we're saving you money already. Keeps.com/door. That's KEEPS.com/door. So I wanted to show you a picture of something. I think Josh will be able to show you, and Cade will be able to show this on the thing. So this, one of our listeners sent this to me. And it was interesting because at the top of it, it said, what department in salt water made this? And I thought, well, this is somebody that's really been listening to Dad. So here's the picture. I'll show you both. So that's a moth, as you can see, right?
Looks
See
like a big one.
Big moth. I mean, you see, it's a
But
person's
has this picture been
altered in any way? No.
I mean,
I
that's
don't
bigger than a hand.
It's bigger than a hand. This is a giant.
But I've seen these. Look, somebody sent me a picture of a frog, and I've been sent like a dozen times. But it's trick photography.
No, this is real.
This is real.
I researched it.
Okay.
So, but this is what it looks like from behind the moth
Oh my goodness!
when his wings are closed. What about that?
A two-headed moth.
So that's his wings, but it looks like two
Well,
snakes.
you're saying his.
Well, his, hers. I don't know if mine.
Oh, that's his wings.
That's the wings from behind him. So if somebody comes, some varmint comes up and they're going to eat this moth, they think there's two snakes looking at him.
Now that is something.
That's
This
pretty
is a
awesome.
Good find.
Yeah. So here's another picture of it right here. So
I see how it works.
yeah. So
The
what?
tip of
But-
his
but
wings.
she asked a good question. What part of the slime in salt water
That's right.
produced that little thing?
Exactly. Which I thought that was really interesting because we talk about all the things in nature. So the Almighty, for a defense mechanism for this moth, made it look like there were two snakes ready to pounce. So, something's coming. I don't know what would eat this moth, but whatever it is, he's coming along saying,
A frog.
the frog, I got to take on these two snakes if I want to eat this moth. I mean, that's a pretty good defense mechanism.
It is.
Now these are the kind of material that we need to be passed on. That is because I love looking at the details of life,
Right.
of all life.
Yeah,
and,
me
and,
too.
and once you just compile it all, the evidence is overwhelming that some intellect designed it
Yeah. And-
like that's. I don't even know where to start.
Well, and again, an evolutionist would say, no, over time, this thing, evolved to the point where it could have this, these what look like two snakes on the back of his wings. But I
Well,
mean,
the natural selection. I mean, things do evolve. Where we've had this discussion
Right.
before, but how did it get set in motion? This just looks like an intellectual design.
yeah,
It is.
There's some intent here to keep this little moth. Which, when you think about a moth, he doesn't have much of a defense system.
no,
He's pretty much like if you slap one, he just turns into dust.
right. And if you crank up a fire or a little candlelight, they just go right into it.
Oh,
The
yeah,
moth to flame. You just sizzle them. So I mean, they don't have a lot. But now this guy's you're gonna have to think twice about eating him.
Well, if I reach my hand back, I'd say, "Whoa!"
Ooh, Looks like
The
a couple-
hesitation. I just basically he was designed for you to pause.
Exactly.
Say, wait a minute.
I thought it was pretty good. And then one more, Jace, for you from a listener. I'm always hearing from folks. John is from Pennsylvania. So he sent me it says, FYI, just for you guys, in quotation or in parentheses or not. And he sent a number that is another bank number from Pennsylvania. So
You know what's funny?
so he's like, here,
This
if y'all
is-
want to shut this one down, here's one up in my area.
Well, look, there is a new bank in the city that I noticed that we live that is now putting the time and temperature up. I'm like,
On the big screen.
podcast listener. So say no to cell phones. Just look at your local bank.
That's exactly right. You
So-
know who's listening. So do you want to give that number?
No, I'm not giving the number.
right, we stopped.
I mean, we caused quite the upheaval in our local bank with this number being disconnected. But
So-
you know what's sad is that bank number sat there for 10 years dormant.
Nobody answered.
And when I was kidding around saying they're staring at the red phone and saying it's ringing 10 years later, is it an alien? It was almost like that.
Yeah.
They had forgotten that was something that they were offering. So they disconnected.
So it's disconnected. Now it's gone. In fact, I'm wondering if that bank even still exists.
Time and temperature, and I have no way of grasping either. I don't have a watch nor a cell phone.
So
I'm just out of luck.
a landline would be handy for you to call in to get that if you wanted to know what it was.
Yep.
Right?
Usually in your rig, vehicles have a clock. Most vehicles have a clock.
Oh, was that Mom out there?
Tell Kay, ask her if we can put her on speaker. Look, I'll tell you something funny. After my redneck parade, because I've been thinking about this since we have our upcoming guest next podcast, the two most persecuted people, I guess, in the U.S., because it's okay to do so, is the redneck world and the Christians. Because, Matthew 5, he's like, blessed are you when people insult you and persecute you. So we just, and people do. Yeah. Movies, they just throw us under the bus.
Yeah.
So they had the premiere of the Chosen Christmas special come out. What was that, Saturday night? And so Missy, she didn't even ask me. She just bought the tickets. And, Kay, do you want to come be on the show?
This is the day of surprise. So we were supposed to do a couple of videos, and Mom's here early, which describes because Jase was late. So, all right, now we understand. So Mom's popping in.
I've gone on record saying I have showed up late and dirty my entire life.
Thank goodness Kaylee wasn't here to witness
how
this.
How about a little heads up the day before? Al sent me an email a week ago. What would have happened if Al would have sent Phil an email a week ago and said, we changed the time?
Phil don't even know what an email is, so that would be hard.
Thank you.
But I sent an email and I texted to Dad's handlers, and he gets the word. Jace needs more handlers.
Here's what happened, Kay. I was in the middle of a story about you, and then I heard your voice.
We heard you cackling outside.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Yeah,
it's like seance or something.
Yeah, we did that the last podcast where we took words that are actual words and then we transformed them into words that sound better in the redneck vocabulary.
Now, I could get in on that.
Yeah, I know.
So, all right, Mom, let me ask you a question. So, if you were going to say somebody was going to criticize somebody, would you say that they were lambasted or land blasted?
The last one.
Land blasted?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I said. I made that word up. And
well, we're on the same page, me and you.
Because I think it sounds better.
That's scary.
So
we got another one for land blasted.
Cha-ching! We need to do a poll, an online poll. The critical, when you are criticizing somebody, are you land blasting them or lamb basting them? I mean, you're talking about a yuppie word.
You're still making a
lamb based.
Not lamb-basted, lamb-basted.
It goes, by the way, you can pronounce it either way.
That's almost cussing.
Yeah, it sounds
nasty. Pronounce either way.
Either way.
All right, thank you.
Cleared that up.
So look.
But Dad, by the way, Dad is correct. Dad corrected us. Dad corrected him. The correct English word is lambasted or bastard. Yeah.
Well, he did have a degree in English.
We talked about that.
Yeah. So anyway.
I never got there.
So, Kay, I was a part of the redneck parade that you were once the...
Do you remember being the Grand Marshal?
I was the Grand Marshal.
But guess what? I didn't choose to be there. It just... I was driving by and it swallowed me up. I was in it for 2 hours.
Yeah, how did I miss that event when Miss Kay was the queen of the event?
That was Saturday. So anyway, what I was going to tell you is...
How did he miss that, Mom? Because you didn't tell Dad you were going to be the...
I'm sure I told him 10 times and he tuned me out like he always does.
At this pace, I'm never going to get through the story.
Well, welcome, Mom, to the podcast, because then you're never going to... Hang on, before you tell, let's take a break. So, Dad, when you hear the word dwell, what do you think of? Dwell.
Dwell? I kind of associate with dwelling.
Yeah, with where you live. So there's a new one here for you to log into your vocabulary. It's a new Bible app, and it's inspired by the psalmist's command that we hide the word of God in our hearts, which is pretty good. I like that idea. So Dwell has built a beautiful listening and reading experience for the scriptures. And look, by the way, you guys, I know a lot of you listen to the podcast. I've met so many of your truck drivers, and you have jobs where you listen a lot. This is a great thing for you, just to be able to hear the word of God. Got all the best versions, ESV, NIV, KJV, NLT, Message, whatever you like. There's also a new read-along experience, which is really good, that you can read along with it, which kind of helps you remember it. So it's time to get into the Word, because we love the Word of God. It's the backbone of the Unashamed podcast. So to get started with Dwell, you go to Dwell, DWELL, twheaded.io/unashamed. You're going to get 10% off a yearly subscription, or you can get 33% off Dwell for life. That's really good. 33% off saves you $50. So make sure to visit dwellapp.io/unashamed and commit to Scripture for the rest of this year or for life.
Christ may dwell in your heart.
There you go.
So we get tickets to the Chosen Christmas special. So we invited our neighbors. Love your neighbor.
Yeah.
So it was Missy and I and a couple that lives right next to us. And so when I get there, I hear this voice, after because we've already paid for our tickets. We walk in, and I looked up and I thought, I noticed one of your friends. And I was like, but I called her name out, which was Lynn, but evidently she can't hear because she just ignored me. And I kept hearing this voice, and I was like, it sounds like my mom. I told Missy that. And we looked, it was like, no, we were looking too high. And lo and behold, here she come. I said, why am I not surprised? The premiere at the movie theaters of the Christmas special, which I loved. Did you like it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So if you need some family activity to do, I tell you what was weird about it is as it went on, I felt like I was at a service, a gathering
I did too.
of church people. But it once in our theater, because it was oversold, so they had to go into two theaters. You were actually in a different room than I was. But
well, I tried to find you and I couldn't.
I know, because it was an overflow crowd. And so, but once someone erupted in applause, because at first I don't want to ruin the thing for you, but they show a few music videos, Christmas songs, kind of contemporary like, which we like. And then they had the Christmas episode, and they had a few speeches in there. It was like a Christmas special.
So it's just like one of those Fathom specials is what they call it?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay,
because I thought it was just an episode, Christmas style, of The Chosen. So and I was like, boy, the undercard is lasting a while. And Missy's like, this is the show. She leaned over and said, this is it. I was thinking.
You kept waiting for the next
Well,
thing.
where's, because it kept singing songs. And I was like, do we sing or... But about halfway through there, people started singing.
They did,
and then
our theater, too.
Then people started clapping. Then we got a few amens. And I had to constantly remind myself, we're in a movie theater, that was the coolest part of it. I thought. And I'll tell you another thing. When it ended, because it was probably, 2 hours and 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Nobody left.
They just sat there, I know.
They just sat there and hung out. Kind of like you do fellowshipping at church. I thought, well, this is awesome.
That's when you know something different than movie, when everybody's just running to get out at the end of it.
So it was a really good night. So if you
That's what our culture is missing in all this.
Oh, I know. It was awesome.
So I want to see, since you brought it up, I forgot all about this, but so I'll bring this to your attention, Jase. So a friend of mine is a guy named Barry Loudermilk, and he's a congressman from Georgia in D.C. And so he sent me this picture because he and I talk a lot. And in fact, one of the videos we're doing today is for Bart. Remember the guy that went with us to Europe?
Yeah.
The guy that's our bodyguard?
Yeah.
So he's retiring. But anyway, so you recognize this guy, Jase, and we'll show the picture to the audience. So you know this guy.
Oh, yeah. That's
the actor.
That's Jesus on The Chosen.
Right. So they gave him a tour of the Capitol. Barry did. But I want you to look above his head. Now, was totally...
No, that is crazy.
That was totally not planned.
What is it?
I'm going to show you.
Look
there's
at this cross.
There's a statue behind him, way across the room.
Nobody's gonna believe that. It's like the moth with that's like the moth with two snakes for wings. It's just a coincidence.
Look at that. So Barry sent me this picture, and he was like, we gave him a tour, and then he said, "Look above his head," and I was like, "Look," because I didn't notice it at first, and I was like, "Look at that." This is the actor that plays Jesus, Dad, on the Chosen.
Yeah.
But they took that shot just from across the room. Nobody thought about what was behind him, but it happened to be a statue that had a cross on top, which was really pretty awesome when you think about it. It's almost like the Almighty said, hey, let me...
And to the skeptic, I'll say, you know what? Because they say that's just a coincidence, but when you look for Jesus, you'll find the cross.
There you go.
Wow.
Okay, this is what we do.
This is the Unashamed podcast.
Off the cuff, just
And I'm
bam.
so shocked that Jason talks the most. Now that is something, isn't it, Jason?
Well, your husband sometimes is not in the mood to talk.
Oh, he's not.
No.
Maybe he thinks he can't get in.
So what do you think about the charge? They're making a charge against me. I don't laugh enough.
I hurt Phil's feelings because I told like 3 or 4 really good jokes, and he just never.
This was last week.
Yeah, sometimes he either don't get it, he's tuned you out, or something, because I say funny things and he didn't. So I get right in his face, and then I do it, and so he gets it.
I'm gonna draw a line there.
Does he laugh when you're right in his face?
He chuckles sometimes.
Well, look, so Mom, I hadn't planned for this. I hadn't planned for you to be here early. And so since you're here, we'll pivot a little bit. So let's talk a little bit. This is your favorite time of the year.
Correct.
Because you love Christmas, right?
Correct.
Thanksgiving right into Christmas. A lot of eating, a lot of cooking and food, which is...
And decorations.
Decorations. So let's tell a few, holiday stories about, from growing up. Why was Christmas so special to you? I mean, and was it like that in your family, or was it just later because of us?
No, in my family, we went to nannies, my grandmother's, who I live with, half the time. But it was the neatest thing. See, she had a big living room, she had a big dining room, but it was closed off. So those 2 rooms in the winter were ice cold. Mm-hmm. I mean, you didn't go in there unless you had your heavy coat on. And that's the way they did. They wouldn't dare heat the whole house. We never heard of that.
Well, that's where they needed to hide their Christmas presents.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they could.
If you'd have had any.
Yeah. And no, they were real funny. They did not put out the presents till right before the day we opened them, Christmas Eve.
So not like they were under the tree.
Is that who taught you the game where every year you would tell us we wouldn't have any Christmas presents?
I made that up all by myself.
But you did it every year.
I
And
know.
every year we would have them.
I know.
After a while, I thought, maybe she's just saying this. But it always seemed to work.
It worked out.
Well, yeah, because I didn't think I could get something. Then I got a good charge credit, and I got presents. And I thought, yeah, you didn't know that. But so what I did was then I can buy presents now. It took me 2 years to pay them off, but I got them.
There's no telling what those presents cost in the long haul, right?
Right.
Well, I'll say, as on behalf of Jason and I and our siblings, we're glad you went to that measure to make sure we had a little something.
Well, I wouldn't dare not.
What's your famous line, Miss Kay? Bill, I've been poor with you and I've been rich with you. Rich is better.
That's true. It's not fun to wait till the last minute and think, how can I get that?
Well, I think my psychological, I guess, evaluation is this. Then when we came along and the business took off, then Christmas kind of went kind of crazy, kind of chaos for a while. There were just piles of stuff because it was like, I tell you what, we didn't have much for 25 years, but we're going to pile up.
Somebody burned up a $50 bill.
Yeah, that was the first year Mom decided to give out $50 bills to all of us. And then mine got caught up in the trash burning of the wrapping paper.
That's actually against the law to burn.
Yeah. Currency. You broke the law, and I lost the $50.
We burned for years.
No, you can burn. You can't burn actual money.
Currency.
Well, nobody wanted to burn.
Well,
we couldn't find that $50
So
bill.
what's funny, that's been 25 years ago. And Mom has never given cash since, only checks.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, you won't burn my $50. So now she'll put a check in. You did it.
You know what's interesting, Kay, in our society now, in the fintech world, now the new payment is to buy now, pay later. Those are the hottest stocks on the market. Companies that say you can buy something, but you pay later.
Why would
companies,
they do that?
Because of people like you.
Yeah.
Because then in Christmas, you could go buy and then pay later.
It's like, you remember layaway?
I thought, this is Kay.
I used to lay away.
It's just it's a sophisticated way to do layaway.
And
everything makes it
But
come
then
back.
I would always lose my ticket to get my stuff back.
Well,
So I would say, well, can I just go back there and show you what it? And she said, no, you can't go in the back of our store.
I was just going to go look around through the layaway. Let's take another break. So one of our sponsors is a group called Good Ranchers, and they're good guys. They're not just good ranchers; they're good guys. They've come up with a good product. But one of the things I loved about them is when I got the chance to share with them some is they all have a time they spend in ministry. They're believers. They love our podcast, and they really want to support us in what we're trying to do to get the gospel out there. So I just want to encourage you guys to check these guys out. Like I said, great product. They're really trying to help Americans. There were over 100,000 American farms and ranches that shut down because so much meat was coming in from other countries. And then, of course, they're processing it, saying it's American made when it's really not. So I want you to check these guys out. Go to goodranchers.com/Phil. And if you go there right now, you're going to get 10 free fillets. In addition, if you subscribe, you will save $25 off each subscription box of all their meats for life. So it's really affordable. It's a way to feed your family. Like I said, they're American first. They're also believers, good guys. 10 free fillets, that's $119 value, free express shipping, and $25 off your monthly subscription for life at goodranchers.com/Phil. So get your best deal of the year, goodranchers.com/Phil. Get those fillets and get this meat coming to your house. But, you know, the layaway, if you didn't go back and pay for it, then they just put it all back on the shelf.
But isn't that stupid? You had to have your receipt. I mean, what kind of con man, I mean, I'm guess they're out there, would go up there and make up a story on I bought the wrong size shirt. I don't have the ticket. Here it is. And they're like, well, you don't have that receipt. So I decided today to get this crappy $7 sweater and bring it back. But I don't have the receipt, so go away.
I mean, you're right. In the computer era, we ought to be moving on from paper receipts. Now, most of the time, they'll email it to you anyway. You don't even get a paper receipt unless you just...
Well, I asked for them because I don't email.
What do you do with all your paper receipts? Where are they at?
Oh, I put them in a drawer for a while, and then I throw them all away.
That's right. So I'm saying you can pretty much just bypass the whole, hoarding process of that by just throwing them, saying, no, I'm good.
Yesterday we went, Sunday, the next day, we went to it was kind of a Christmas-themed church service. So I did 2 in one weekend, but they showed a movie. They showed parts of The Grinch. I had never seen that movie.
The original Grinch? The cartoon?
It was Jim Carrey was in
okay.
it.
That's updated.
So
that's
when was that?
Maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
7 or 8 years ago?
They did that at the church.
No, everybody over here said.
What is it, Josh?
I said it seemed 20 years maybe.
Oh, good night.
I had never seen that.
The original Grinch is far better.
Well, it was actually pretty good though, because they weren't like focused on Jesus. Of course, the preacher was making it focused on Jesus, which was awesome. But what I liked about it...
All right, you were right. I was wrong. 2000. 21 years
what
ago.
was that other thing we were going to get Missy to clarify?
Oh, we're going to do that.
That's going to be,
babe.
That's going to be the same conclusion there.
You will get scalded on that
Which is very rare to hear Robertson say, you were right.
You were right. I was wrong.
But...
Never.
Well, we just heard it.
You just heard it,
just
Mom.
had a groundbreaking...
Well, who did? Al did?
So, Mom, when do you think the original Grinch came out?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
Okay, 1959.
All right, I'm still looking. I'll get back to you.
Well, let me tell my story. Well, I was going to say it was different, but they were basically the movie, which I had never seen. Missy's like, that's embarrassing. Don't tell anybody. So I'm telling everybody. It was a pretty good movie. And they didn't show the whole movie. They just took out the best parts, I think. And so...
Are you talking about the Grinch?
Well, this Jim Carrey version of
the 2000 version.
But they were... they might have taken out anything that wasn't church savvy, too. I don't know, because I'd never seen it.
I'm sure they did.
But it was really, it's not about the presents. It's not about the money. It's not about the lights and the trees. And, of course, they were like, it's about, the relationships with people. Of course, our relationship with God is... They should have started with it's about Jesus, then the relationship, because relationships are better when that is your foundation.
That's right.
So it was a great experience. I just thought I'd bring that up.
So the original Grinch was made the year after I was born, the year Lisa was born. She's in the wings. 1966.
Well, I was close.
You were close. You said 49?
56.
Oh, 56. Okay.
That's not what I said.
Yeah, you do. We can roll the tape back. I heard it. 56.
Wrong. Thank
59
you.
is what you said. I knew there was a 9
Thank
in there.
you. So
Oh, you
you
were
were
close.
wrong, and
You
I
were
was
right.
closer.
That's 2 Robertsons in one podcast that say we were wrong.
Technically, you were off by 7 years. A lot can happen in 7 years.
That's not true, is it, Lisa? Thank you.
So the Grinch, the song, Cy did the song on our Christmas.
And he did an excellent
It was really
job.
good. It was.
I
really
didn't know
was-
he could sing that.
Well, it was in his voice range.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Because it's
Grinchy.
lower. Grinchy.
No, I was thinking Grinchy.
Who's the old black guy that sang that original song? There's a big old black guy that sang, "You're a wise."
Burl Eyes? Was it?
No, he's a big white guy.
Oh.
But no, wrong color. It was. All right, someone have to look it up over there. It's turned into trivia.
Do you remember when y'all used to take us to movies on Christmas Eve?
I remember that. And we went and we saw Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah. Do you remember?
Wonder
Because
why they didn't have. I guess Phil wouldn't have went to Santa Claus, would he?
you spent most of the time with your hands over my eyes.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I had to do.
So is this right? Tyler, the Creator. Is that right, John? It's saying the.
I don't even know.
It says Tyler,
Where
the
we're going
Creator,
with
but I
that.
don't think that's right.
I just think that in our society, if people take a time out and acknowledge anything good dealing with Christmas that might plant a seed to Jesus, I'm for it.
Well, that's me, and there's a lot of times churches will be kind of in the mode of, we don't know when Jesus was born, so we don't want to talk about Christmas. I was like,
True.
let's talk about him all the time.
I think it's a great thing to talk about since we're right in the middle of the Pharisee and teachers of the law segment.
right.
I mean, everything you do in life, just even when we were talking about this moth that its wings looks like the snakes, we're using that to point people to the Creator. We're
Right.
taking something that was created. And so any excuse you can have to get people for the meaning of Christmas, specifically Jesus, because people aren't going to embrace Jesus till they experience Jesus, but you got to have some kind of seed planted somewhere that makes them want to at least check it out.
Right. Let's take our last break. So it's that time of year, we like to say. 'Tis the season when people are looking for great gift ideas and different things to give to their loved ones. We know that a lot of you guys out there in Unashamed Nation are always looking for some good Unashamed merch. And so we want to let you know there's going to be a 20% off discount right now if you use the right code to be able to get some holiday items or just some items for yourself, which is always good. So you go to Phil Merch, PhilMerch.com, philmerch.com. The promo code is Unashamed20. That's Unashamed20. That's going to get you 20% off. And so it's some really cool looking Unashamed gear, things for you to give to someone just to say I love you and also support Unashamed Nation. So we love you guys. We're so glad that you're out there and that you're with us. So Unashamed20, philmerch.com. So I was just thinking here, Mom, one of my greatest Christmas memories of recent years, and it's been a few, say recent, I guess within 20 years, was I was hunting. I was going to hunt with Dad on a Christmas morning because that's usually not a lot of people hunt that day because we had our family. So we brought the girls out, Lisa and I did, and we spent the night. And you and Dad had just gotten the fireplace that you have now. It was a new fireplace. One of our buddies put it in, and apparently he didn't do something quite right. He didn't double deck it or whatever.
Where the wood met the fireplace,
So
a little close to the wood.
So it's cold. It was one of those cold nights, cold Christmases, and
We didn't have central heating either.
So did you get up early, Dad? Were you the one that first?
Of course he did.
I got up early. I got up because at that time I could smell like a coyote, and I smelled smoke.
That's right.
And it was 3:30 in the morning.
It was about an hour before we were supposed to get up and go hunting.
Right.
So Dad comes in and he's like, "I smell smoke."
Well, I said, well, we had a fire last night in the fireplace.
So what had happened was the fire had gone down to the floor joist and underneath the house.
Yep.
And it's just glowing red. Luckily, there wasn't any wind because you had stuff up around the bottom of your house. So all of a sudden, we went into at 3:30 in the morning. Everybody's up. We're hauling water because if I'm not mistaken, it was a big freeze. So we were having to use big old.
We didn't have the electricity on.
No electricity. That's right.
Or any water.
So we're having to haul water from wherever we can find it.
Them 5-gallon things of water.
Dad's got a sledgehammer, and he's just busting the brand new fireplace to get where you can put water down there. So
I had the sledgehammer, and I said, "This is brand new. I understand, but up underneath there's a fire there." And
you couldn't get to it otherwise.
And I got to go to it with this sledgehammer and back up. And she said, "You have to tear the floor up?" I said, "I have to tear it up." And I just started coming down on it. It started disintegrating, and we started pouring the water to it. By the time the fire department got there, he said, "The only way you could have stopped that fire was what you did." I said,
then they gave him Dad like a sticker, like an honorary.
Yeah, we'll patch it up. We'll patch it up later. Yeah.
The worst part, they broke the windows coming in. Like, why didn't they come in the door?
I don't remember the broken windows.
We tore up a pretty good bit, but we got the fire put out.
No, but look,
had it rebuilt, and it turned out fine. But we were on fire, and it would have burned the house down.
So 2 things, Jase, of note. You'll appreciate this. So number 1, Anna, my oldest daughter.
Yep.
Anna was in there picking out, not taking everybody's gifts under the tree because we got a fire. She only picked out her gifts and was taking them out.
I'm not going to lose everything.
That's Grinch-like qualities. I was like, have a fire, grab my presents.
That's right, but not your sisters or everybody else's.
No.
It was like, so that was one thing that was funny. And the second thing was, we go through this whole ordeal. The fire department's there. It's like, okay, we're okay. The house is not going to burn down, but everything's just smashed and in disarray. Dad says, "Well, it's about 4:30. It's time to go ahead."
I remember I was there. I was like,
so
"You're
Jase
going duck hunting?" Because I thought, well, what if it kicks back up a little bit?
The fire department pulled out, heading back to town, and we all started heading toward the duck blinds.
And left me with a semi-burning house.
No, it was put out.
No, I think I remember the words. He says, "If it catches up, just go out to the yard."
So if I'm not mistaken, we moved Christmas that year to your house.
Yeah.
That's when you lived on Tidwell Road.
That was a smaller house.
That's right.
Thank you for reminding me. Okay, I was poor.
Yeah, I'd
back
forgotten
then.
about the fire, but
The Great Fire of whatever year that
put it
was.
out.
Anna was like a teenager, so I think was right.
Yeah.
That was a great Christmas memory. And then we spent it with Jase at his house.
Well, you don't have to get me anything this year, okay? Here's why. You gave Missy you actually gave me the greatest present ever
What was it?
when you taught her how to cook those sweet potato pies.
Oh,
She
man.
knocked it out of the park. And I
nailed
told her, I said, you know what this means? We got to do this for Christmas because she did it for Thanksgiving.
And I told her, I said, no shortcuts. No shortcuts.
Yeah.
Don't buy sweet potatoes in a can.
Thank you.
Bake them. Take them out of the, skin.
Mm-hmm.
I told her everything. I said, every step I got must be done. Don't make it easier. See, that's what women do, younger women.
Well, I knew she
They
didn't
make their own adjustments, and when they get through, they've run the pot.
She actually, when I tasted it, I thought, this is actually equal to, if not better, than well, I'm gonna tell you the story. And she said, "Well, I used because we have chickens and ducks in Tennessee." She said, "I used the duck eggs for the eggs."
Yeah, that could have made
for
it
the
better.
crust because they claim it's flakier than
Well,
chicken eggs.
it was a little richer flavor, so I thought, "Wow,
Those
good."
eggs are is it more yellow?
Yeah, more yellow, and they're actually almost orange.
Yeah.
And they're twice as big as the chicken.
Well,
eggs.
it was like six. Your recipe called for six. I think she used 4 because they're quite bigger.
They're bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and that was a nice little bonus. Bon appetit.
Yeah, and there's Jase, I wasn't here, so tell us, we don't have much time left, but so you're a grandfather now. And
yeah, it's been exciting. It's great. We've laughed, we've cried. It's been awesome. The only thing I'm upset about is the name. I mean, complete debacle. Paul. That's what they're going to call me. Really?
Paul.
Paul.
Well,
After
we had
all this.
we had a Paul.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if you start smoking.
So you know what? Now I know why Paul never said much.
That's right.
He was
didn't
angry.
like his name.
He didn't like it, so he said 30 words in 30 years of my lifespan. And you know why? He didn't like being called Paul, and I don't either.
You.
What would you had rather it had been?
Well, at this stage, anything else.
Papa.
Yeah,
Anything, just something
Paul.
lively. Paul.
Yeah, it's so plain. And you're anything but plain.
Most of the Matt Dillon episodes, they used Paul.
Well, here's the
But
problem.
for the dad,
Well, you know
though.
why I don't
Yeah.
like it is Outlaw Josie Wells. He's the young boy's under the blanket. He's been shot, and here Eastwood is there, and then here comes these two fellers, kind of representing Redneck USA, and they got us Mr. Josie Wells.
Oh.
And so the youngster who had been shot, he's like, I got the gold right here, Paul.
Yeah.
And he said, what gold's he talking about? And he's like, there's no gold. He's crazy. And he's like, lies, take a look under that there blanket. And so he opens the blanket, boom,
Yeah.
and he's like,
He shoots lies first, then he gets the
but
other
right
guy.
before that, he said, shut up, I'm not your Paul. Shut up. Tell him to shut up.
And he kicks him.
Yeah, and he kicked him. Ooh.
Most people's family don't memorize a whole movie, but that one, every member of our family memorized that
Outlaw
movie.
Josie
Didn't
Wells.
try to memorize it. It just became a fabric
Eastwood
of my brain.
said that was his best movie ever.
Yeah, well,
Well, it was.
One of his
good.
early directorial.
But I'm like, now I'm Paul. Paul?
yeah, you're Paul.
I got to go.
How does
right
it
here.
feel, Jace, to be a grandfather?
Well, it feels a little weird. I mean,
You don't feel old enough to be a grandpa, do you? Tell the truth.
I realize now I've gone from just being a man to get to an
think
older
about it.
man to kind of a creepy man. When you're a grandpa, you're kind of creepy.
No.
Jace, you've just entered a zone where you are called Grandpa. Grand.
Well, that
Look,
would have worked.
This is
and it
grand.
worked for me.
You want us
I'm
to call
the
you that?
Great grandpa.
Even more than grand. I'm
Yeah.
great and grandpa.
Okay.
So you're like,
making me feel
we're
better.
moving up, Jace.
Yeah.
Moving on up.
Well, you know what it means, Jace, is, and you were already there, but when you get the grandchildren, it solidifies it. You are now your own patriarch. Like Dad's still all of our patriarch, but you're
Yep.
your own patriarch.
That's it.
In your family.
Well, here's my plan. I think when she gets old enough to understand the English language, when I would talk with her, and I was going to say, look, they want you to call me Paul,
But
but do you have any other ideas?
good.
And I think we'll go there.
So,
Well,
Jace,
give her a hint.
I'll give you a little glimpse into the future, and the same thing happened with Mom and Dad. Is last night my 16-year-old granddaughter and her boyfriend come in to just get advice from Lisa and I, because we're the grandparents. And I thought, yeah, this is pretty much the deal. I mean, now you're a 16-year-old dating
That's it.
granddaughter. Now, before she talks to her folks, she wants to run it by the grandparents. And because she knows, we're going to give her some sage advice. So I told
Yeah.
Lisa, I said, getting old stinks in every aspect except for the wisdom.
Yeah, I told Jay Stone, who's cooking for us now. He's a great cook, and
He's
he's
our
a deer
personal chef.
She's our
slayer.
personal chef.
I told him he ought to date your daughter. I said, you ought to date my granddaughter. I said, I'm giving you the right to even do this.
Grandpa.
However, I said, you have to talk to Al,
Don't bypass
her
me.
father.
Well, that's where I thought Al was going with
I
this.
said,
When he
tell
gave
him
the
I've cleared you.
advice-
I said, tell him I've cleared you. That'll help you. I said, but you tell them, could you date her? I'm not giving you permission to date her.
That's right.
I'm saying you ought to. She'll make you a good
Yeah.
woman.
Which
when my grandkids come to me for advice, I'm gonna say, go ask your parents.
No, but here's the thing though, Jess. You'll do what I did. You'll share the advice. And you'll say, here's what I think, but go talk to your folks because ultimately they make decisions. But what I'm saying is, it's that's what's new for Jace is now you've got the layers.
Yep.
For you, Dad, you and Mom, I mean, y'all are still in pretty good shape. There may be a fourth layer. You may be a great grandpa
It could happen
before this life is over.
if the
Well,
Almighty
Phil will
allows
probably
it.
see it.
Oh, you'll be there.
I was being honest. I was feeling a bit
Yeah, I'm Miss
old
Health of America.
You just keep them pies coming home.
Oh, here we go.
There we go. Well, Mom, thank you for we had to push Kaylee to the next podcast, so you now have filled in for Kaylee McEnany.
Well, if I could only look like her.
Well,
Yeah.
you once did.
Yeah.
I once did without blonde hair.
Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Resurrection. Linda.
Yeah. Perfect figure. You got
All
it. If we even have a
Hopefully,
figure.
next time we'll have Kaylee on.
And that's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote.
Thanks for listening to the Unashamed podcast. Help us out by rating us on iTunes. And don't miss an episode by subscribing on YouTube, and be sure to click that little bell to get notified about new episodes. And for even more content that you won't get anywhere else, subscribe to Blaze TV at blazetv.com/unashamed.